Hi, welcome to BL Context podcast. My name is Ramesh, and I'm going to be talking about what the budget has to say about green initiatives generally. Now, in my opinion, this budget is a little chlorophyll deficient. It's not green enough. One might always say that not everything has to be brought through the budget itself, and that's a very valid argument. But if you're looking at this budget per se, it doesn't have very great things for the green sector in general. However, there are a few references, and we'll look at some of them one by one. Now, there are about 4 or 5 references to uh, green initiatives and climate action. The big one is, of course, the very well expected hike in the outlay for the PLI scheme for solar module manufacture. As many people may remember, when this was announced sometime back last year, the government had given an allocation of 4,500 crores, on the basis of which they kept tender out for bids, and then the bids came for a whopping 58 gigawatts or something, around 58 gigawatts. So the government had even then thought it fit to increase the allocation so that they could accommodate more players, give more incentives to players, or incentives to more players for setting up a solar manufacturing plant. So they had then said that that allocation outlay would be hiked from 4,500 crores to 24,000 crores, and a formal announcement about that was made by the finance minister today. So anyway, that was something well expected, and that has happened. That apart, there are some references to a new scheme, new policy for battery swapping, which is very welcome again, because all these oil marketing companies, IOC primarily, and BPCL, HPCL, and all other people, they all have plans for setting up EV charging stations at their retail outlets. And you could have an EV charging station, you could have a battery swapping station. If you have battery swapping stations, the vehicles won't have to stand there for a long time. So that's also a good idea. Therefore, the scheme was mentioned today for this battery swapping is a very welcome scheme. However, it is still in the making. Okay, we don't know what the scheme is. So when it comes, we will be able to take a proper view about it. But at the moment, it's only a reference to that. And then the finance minister has also spoken about bringing in energy efficiency in buildings via the ESCO model. ESCO model, you see, as many people may know, ESCO model is where a company comes in and does something, and the building, the people who are the owners of the building, the electricity bill comes down, and they pay this service provider out of the savings. So the capital expenditure is put in first by the service provider, the ESCO, and that company gets paid over time, over a period of time, from the savings that happen on account of because of the measures that they have taken. This is not quite taken off, although it's been talked about for ages. Not taken off because it leads to a lot of disputes. Because the ESCO will say, "Look, I have done this, and therefore you have saved so much." But the building owner says, "No, this is not due to what you did, but something else." So there have been lots of problems. ESCO have not really taken off in this country. Now the finance minister has spoken about bringing in a protocol for common measurement and verification and so on and so forth. And if such a protocol happens, there are already many ESCOs in existence. Bosch and so many other people have set up their own ESCOs. One good example is a very highly successful public sector company, EESL, that does on ESCO model. Although that is not so much on buildings, it's on LED and other appliances. If you take that out, there are so many dozens of ESCOs in the country which have not really got into this business because of all these problems. And the finance minister today has spoken about bringing in a protocol, broadly a set of rules. And if you function on the basis of those rules, you will be able to properly measure the benefits that have arisen out of the ESCO's efforts. And then energy efficiency in buildings has a potential to take off. This is a good measure, but once again, we'll have to wait and see how this exactly pans out, what exactly it is. So at the moment, it is just an announcement. And then there's this announcement about this green bonds. This again, as many people may remember, was made, a similar announcement was made by the same finance minister a couple of years back, but that didn't really take off. Although did say that the government of India would come out with the sovereign green bond issue, that is the government of India. Lots of Indian companies have gone in for green bonds, but the government itself on its own has not done that. And a couple of years back, she did say that the government would do so. It created a mixed response from the market. Some people said it would work, many people said it wouldn't, and then it went nowhere. The idea really went nowhere. And now, since she has revived that idea, looks like they have thought this through, and this time they want to be a little serious about it. Now, how beneficial is a green bond going to be? Again, we'll have to think about it, because green bonds per se don't really offer, or you cannot bet on the green bonds offering you an interest rate advantage. It might. See, interest rate depends upon so many things. It depends upon the credit worthiness of the borrower, it depends upon the global economy, it depends upon the timing, and so on and so forth. So there is no assurance that if you go in for a green bond, the interest rate will be lower and therefore will be able to save it. So that advantage is not assured. However, the other advantage indeed is that when the government goes abroad and borrows money, to that extent it does not borrow from the Indian market, and to that extent the money is available for Indian borrowers. And if more money is available for a set of borrowers for a certain supply, then the rates will come down or at least not go up. That's the idea. It's broadly a good idea, and I have spoken to Mr. Sean Kidney, his name is Sean Kidney. He set up the company, an outfit, a non-profit. He's the CEO and founder of a body called Climate Bonds Initiative, whose objective is to mobilize funds, finance for climate action activities. No, he was all in praise of this announcement. He does want India to come out with a rupee, international issue of a rupee bond. And he said that would really open up for other Indian players to go and borrow from abroad. So that many experts have said it's a good initiative also. So we'll again have to see what the finance minister does on that. And then finally, there is some reference to, there is a, not some reference, there is a reference to pushing blended fuels, because from October 1st, 2022, if you are buying unblended fuel, you will pay rupees 2 per liter more. To that extent, people will ask for blended fuels, and therefore oil companies like IOC, BPCL will blend methanol, ethanol, whatever they, at the moment it is more ethanol, and they could bring in an assortment of blended fuels, and that will really push the fuel economy in the direction of, in the green direction. So broadly, these are the things. But why I say that this budget is lacking the green touch is that none of these is really a big bang, major announcement that will immediately deliver results. For example, the budget could have very easily done something like giving a major thrust with a financial backing to, this is really the crying need of the hour, to the manufacture of electrolyzers for hydrogen. Today, a number of companies, mainly public sector companies, have called for, tendered out for hydrogen. That means they want other people to come, companies to come and set up hydrogen manufacture plants, and they would buy the hydrogen. IOC, BPCL, NTPC, GAIL, they have all made these announcements. And if you don't have an electrolyzer manufacturing capacity within the country, all these companies, people who have bid for this, who win the bids, will only have to buy electrolyzers from abroad, bring them here, produce only hydrogen. I mean, you are not having electrolyzer manufacturing capacity here. You are engendering, you are helping manufacture of these capacities outside. Instead of which, today, you have a major advantage, because really no country has a big head start over India in electrolyzer manufacturers. There may be a handful of companies which are into this, and Indian companies can very easily, very quickly get onto that. And if you have a robust incentive scheme for electrolyzer manufacturing in India, those companies themselves will come and set up plant here. That is a very big opportunity that was missed in this budget. One has to very sadly note that. And some kind of incentivizing for electrolyzers for green hydrogen, or some incentives for research into equipment for manufacturing green hydrogen was very much expected by experts in this market. That does not happen. So on the overall, well, yes, there is something about green, some talk about green, something about clean tech, but not enough. Thank you very much.